Today I am joined by Mr. Mahesh Ramanujam, an industry leader on climate tech and Web3. Welcome Mahesh. How are you today?
Very good, sir. Very good, very good.
Mahesh, you are in climate change for last 15 years. So tell us something about your journey, how it started.
I reflect on where I am today after traversing through this environmental journey, sustainability journey for the last 15 years. We have come together to do two simple things. One, how do we get the world to a zero emissions? And that we are trying to accomplish through our Global Network for Zero platform. We are leading to establish a network that will inspire people around the world to really think about zero emissions and actually take action on it, and eventually transform the marketplace to have a positive impact on people, planet, and profit. And then the second platform, interestingly, is another market transformation opportunity through blockchain. That blockchain offers the single largest opportunity to really democratize technology, access, privacy, security, and whatnot, and help transform the world through tech and resolve the climate conflicts that the world faces.
When somebody thinks about democratization, net zero and the technology, how you see the connecting things are going to evolve in future?
First phase of our journey was about awareness to adoption. Today we are at adoption to acceleration. So everything must accelerate to a singular common goal called zero. Simplest thing that we can do is track your data, measure your data, and report on the data and show the world that you are taking responsible climate action to get to net zero. Prabir ji, I know that you have done a phenomenal amount of things in the past 2 years. Particularly, your organization emerged during COVID. So, you could not have ignored COVID. So, what did you do?
During the tougher time, the greatest innovation happens. We started during peak of the COVID in June 2020, when people started misusing the COVID certificate. So we thought that this is the right time to get into a QR enabled certificate. So that's the first use case what we do it in India, in Hyderabad.
So basically making it tamper proof. Can you elaborate on what Trustone is doing?
So yes, we have started our journey with a supply chain traceability. Then we get into the climate side, addressing the data set on the climate, how to measure carbon footprint through ESG product. Right now, we intend to get into the supply chain side. What climate action you are doing? How to measure that? Can you say that in a confidence that you have sequestered around 1,000 tons of carbon dioxide? But again, how? What is that measurement? Is there any framework? There should not be any scope of manipulation or a alteration of the data. So that's the place where we want to be. Yes, in next couple of years, I think we will be one of the leading climate tech player, which is working on the more on the data side. How you see this carbon credit is going to be in future?
You cannot get to net zero without carbon offsets. So many leaders around the world told us that there is a big discrepancy between the number of carbon credits that they actually bought and the number of carbon credits that they can actually consider to be using to offset some of their emissions, because they were not confident about the quality. So I would say that carbon credits will become so useful in the future only if we can prioritize quality. So it's not always looking into the traditional way of offsetting it through trees and whatnot, but like an agricultural land, or looking within your own supply chain, or looking within your own business processes. I believe voluntary carbon credit markets is ready for a reboot and a revolutionized approach, particularly considering the blockchain technology and blockchain work that we are all trying to do. And if we can use that to really motivate people to get to net zero, I'm all for it, because we want everybody to converge towards that focus. So the Global Network for Zero's vision is very simple. Adopt any standard in the world, get yourself in the direction of making sure that you are doing a good job of really getting a sustainability plan aligned. And most importantly, that gets started on sustainability journey. That's not a choice. Everybody must do it. Everybody's talking about ESG, but there is no ESG without net zero. So the foundational stone for ESG is you have to get to zero emissions. Net zero is the foundation. And where are we actually converging all of this? To UN SDG. the UN Sustainable Development Goals to transform the world. It cannot get clearer than that. We must eradicate poverty. We must make our cities healthier. We must build an inclusive society. And most importantly, we must make sure that we deliver our promises to our children. And so I would say that we have a responsibility to our generation to give a better planet. That's how we made LEAD a phenomenal brand. By not just focusing on creating a standard, but making sure the standard gets implemented on the ground, building by building, block by block, city by city, and eventually nation by nation, right? 200 countries and territories is not a joke. 30 billion square feet is not a joke. Our key goal is that we want to help people with the right tools to be able to track data, report data, keep their data tamper-proof, demonstrate there is transparency, to your point, trust, and importantly, really show this all in one place in an easy way, as a natural way of them feeding into the system. That is where the decentralized climate action comes into play. Can you give us some idea about what is going on with the DMRV space between Trust Zone and DMRV?
So DMRV derives out of from something called as a MRV, Measurement, Reporting and Verification. MRV comes out around in COP13, when they say the climate action should be measured and verified and also reportable. Look at India, 17% of the greenhouse gases are emitting just because of from paddy. And this is just because of uncontrolled use of water and fertilizer and everything. So as a practice, what we have done, we have implemented this methane reduction process. So it is estimated that you can save per hectare around 4 ton to 7 tons of methane emission, or maybe in some cases higher.
That's drastic reduction.
Drastic, 60%. So we measure this. The saving is calculated as a carbon credit. We measure the whole ecosystem, then we data send it to the blockchain. In a way, I want to say that the farmers are also a climate warrior. They are also saving on carbon dioxide emission. So they should be contributing, they should be getting rewarded. So this is our DMRV, what we created an application in, and we give the complete traceability. Whenever we receive certain carbon tokens, then we connect the dots and the farmer rewards are given.
And then eventually for consumers who are buying carbon credits from these farmers, that they do know that they are buying a verifiable, tamper-proof, authenticated, high-quality carbon credits.
Would you like to highlight something on how the awareness is going to get created?
I believe that the strategy should be educate for raising awareness, implement so that you demonstrate awareness became action, and then you celebrate so that more people will actually join, because this particular action cannot be done by a few people, a few thousand people, a few million people, not even a few billion people. It requires everyone to take action, and everybody must take action from where they are. And eventually they should converge to, again, I'll repeat, to zero, which is zero emissions.
How can we, as a Trust One and global network of Zero, work together to address the bigger challenge?
I think at least 4 roles exist for people to engage today. 4 roles. One is the easiest role, advocate. You just become an advocate for a zero emissions world. You're already engaged with us. The second one is that you actually join us as an educator, right? Because earlier you talked about awareness. So education means what's net zero. The third one is that you can be a contributor to best practice and standards development, right? You can come back and say, hey, practice A, practice B, practice C are important, and you can actually integrate them. And last but not the least, you can actually become a third-party reviewer with us, right? To see what their gaps are, what their opportunities are, and help them to do it better, stronger, faster. Because let there not be any confusion. Zero is not a state that you want to just attain and forget. It is a continuous improvement process. You can help us track and trace scope 3 emissions for just not agriculture, beyond. That imagination is possible because being a technology player, I understand that you will immediately expand into that other scope. Zero emissions for a positive impact on people, planet, and profit.
Because what you can't measure, you can't manage. Thank you, Mahesh.
Thank you, Prabir ji.
This is for today. See you on the next episode.